Education and Labor Committee, and the Budget Committee. Welcome on up.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Cardinals for Life and Students for Life Action, for hosting this event. It's really a privilege to be invited to be with you here today, along with my good friend and colleague who I'm following, Chip Roy, one of the finest members we have in Congress, one of the strongest voices for life. There is no greater responsibility or role of government than to keep us safe and secure. That is number one. And whether you're talking about on the federal level, national security, a strong national defense, or on the local level when it comes to law enforcement and public safety, that responsibility of government extends to protecting those who cannot protect themselves. And that is the least among us, the most vulnerable, precious, innocent life in the womb. You know, it's the right thing for us to be where we are today, fighting on this issue because it is right, because it is literally about life. But it's also a good political place to be, because you are the pro-life generation. As we attend these life marches, it's so encouraging to see high school and college students leading the way. You are the pro-life generation. We can no longer debate the science of life. As others have already said, we now have the proof of science that life begins at conception, and life should be protected from conception without exception. That precious life in the womb. The other side wants to call it a choice and wants to call it a fetus. It's life, and it's a baby, and it deserves to be protected. What kind of a compromise must you have to make in your soul when you recognize and see the science and the preciousness of life as we see on the display here today, and you decide that it is a choice, it is a convenience, it is a preference, and you can make that choice for any basis? The other side on this issue, I'm sad to say, believes in abortion up until the moment of birth for any reason at any time with no restrictions. The majority party in this administration wants to eliminate all restrictions on abortion. In my home state of Virginia, sadly, in the last few years, this majority that's taken control is eliminating all restrictions on abortion. Our own governor, thankfully, only has 2 months left in his term, said that abortion should be even allowed after birth. The baby should be taken care of until the mother makes a decision. Imagine the travesty of that, to have a governor say that on a radio show. That's the battle that we're facing today. There's no more important issue. There's no more righteous cause, and I'm so thankful to be with you here today, to be joined with this. We call on the Supreme Court to hear these cases that are coming, to stand up and show courage. You know, on the legislative level, both myself and the colleague I'm following, Mr. Roy, we are both in competitive, tough districts. We take personal risk for the stands that we take. We want to show courage because it's right. We call on the Supreme Court to do that very thing, to reverse this precedent that 7 justices nearly 50 years ago who wrote into law that did not exist, who found in the Constitution that did not exist, and said there's a constitutional right to kill your child in the womb. There is no constitutional basis for that, as our earlier speaker said. There's no constitutional basis for that, and they need to do right, and they need to do justice by reversing that. We've had nearly 70 million abortions since that January 20th, 1973 decision. Over 1 million a year on average. Do you think that impacts the labor situation? Do you think that impacts the Social Security situation? Think about those lives and the impact they would be making in our culture and our society today, as the example that my colleague Chip Roy spoke about, that one baby that from a friend of hers. I have known numerous parents, friends of ours, who've been told that very same thing. You should abort because your child's going to be born deformed or defective in some way, or not going to meet the standards that we think you have to meet to be worthy of life. And these people believed in life irrespective of whether or not that advice was medically true in terms of the health of the baby, because God decides life, rightfully. God makes those decisions, and every one of those situations that I'm referring to, the baby was healthy and precious, which in no way changes the decision that every life deserves to be protected. No life should be diminished just because it doesn't meet a certain standard, and every life deserves to be protected. So thank you for standing here today. Thank you for standing for life. We're proud to be here with you. This fight will never end. Thank you, and God bless you.